probably just start with it, Robbo. A lot of talk the past 2 weeks. Dom Young, Brandon Smith, have they played the last games for the Roosters?
Look, probably separate them, I guess. I think we know Brandon's doing his medical this morning, so I think that's pretty clean. I think that'll should get sorted out today, and and he'll move over there from, I'd say, tomorrow, as far as I know. But that'll get the tick off today, I'd say, with South.
And Dom?
Yeah, Dom's a bit more. I don't think. No, he's here. He played on the weekend. To be honest, all that's been fairly annoying. The way it's not to do with any of you guys. The way it was sort of put out there was as if we were trying to push him out, which wasn't the case. Newcastle rang us, and obviously having talked to his manager beforehand when he got dropped to try and get him out, and we said yes, and then they wanted us to pay the whole year, and we went, well, no, if you want him. Their chairman said that they had the money to take him now, and so we agreed. His management wanted that, and then they've backtracked at the end of the week and today. So that's really annoying. If you ask for something, you've prepared it, then you stick by it, and they haven't done that, and it's sort of thrown Dom in a spin and us all this week when it wasn't our doing. So it's pretty annoying.
It's a tough one for you and Dom if it's been pitched one way and then they've pivoted. How are you sort of dealing with that?
Dom and I had a good discussion last week when all this happened. We were clear about who instigated it. He didn't know about it. His management did, Newcastle did. And so Dom and I are really clear on what happened, and it didn't come from us, it came from them. His management asked, so we said, okay, if you want to go, then go. And then it came out as if we were pushing him out, which was not the case at all, and we sort of held on to that, but we were going through the process there, and then they've said, oh, well, that you pay him out for the rest of the year, and it's like, well, if you want him, you want him, and so they've backtracked on that, and then we'll get back to work with Dom. Dom hasn't done anything wrong in all of this either, so it's been really clear with us, but it's been an annoying week, I think, from our point of view and Dom's point of view, and it's just not how you do things.
Just to be clear, Trent, if Dom obviously got dropped for form reasons, if
yep.
you lose Mark or Toops this week, he's straight back in and you'll keep working with him until otherwise told.
Yeah, that was going to happen a week ago. It was so clear until all of this sort of happened externally to us. But Dom hasn't done anything wrong. He went and played and went to Tamworth and played, and he'll be back in, not today, but they'll start getting to work tomorrow, those guys that went up there. And so, it's business as usual for us, but to throw him in a spin and to throw us in a spin when they've had discussions beforehand and not be ready to back it up, that's just not business.
Is there a world in which he stays here next year, Robbo?
Yeah, there is. He's on contract. There's no issue. It's just I thought Mark was outplaying him. Really simple. That happens every week in sport around the world. Like, it's quite simple. He's a really good player. He's an NRL player. He's a starting NRL player. But Mark was playing slightly better, and you make that choice. And then things happen behind the scenes a lot in our game, which is quite normal. But very rarely it happens like it's happened in the last week.
Would you make a complaint about how that's been handled, Trent? Like, if clubs approaching your players' camp and...
No, that's not. But this happens in the game, so there's no problem with that. But when you say something, back it up.
So, Robbo, is the dispute only relating to this year's contract? He's got another couple of years after.
Yeah.
Would you have to sort of contribute towards that if he was released?
But Rob, I mean, you know how we had not one discussion about letting Dom go at all. That wasn't a discussion at all, right? Then we get approached by Newcastle and his management, and they say, we want this to happen, and we say, fine, well, you take up the contract, and then they want us to release him, but us to pay money for it when we weren't even thinking about releasing him. In what world does that happen? Like, you said that you had room in your cap, So get it sorted. You threw a guy's life upside down for a week. You put another club in, and but just do it in the right way.
So you guys aren't interested in paying him out to move him on then, right?
Why? We hadn't even had a discussion. So why would we pay out for a really good player to move somewhere else unless the club was ready to pay it and their management wanted it to happen? And apparently Dom did after not being here. So, and then we have to pay? Come on, that's not how it works.
Did this situation put an end to a possible early move for Dom to Newcastle?
Yeah, unless things change from their end, you know, I think they're trying to bluff us into, but we didn't want it to happen. We didn't instigate any of this. So anyway, that's done. I think I've been pretty clear in our stance and how it went down. And so it's just get back to work. Let's keep playing and get back to Dom playing his best footy and being in a place for selection.
On Brandon, Trent, so
Yeah.
he's gone for medical. Like,
Yep.
how many weeks, you know, if he stayed here, would it be likely Frank to return to play?
Yeah, Sammy's about 5. He was a couple of weeks after that, so he's probably about 7.
So the
Yeah.
decision to move him on now, what accelerated that?
It was financial for us, really. You know, he's obviously going to come back and contribute. I think Wayne sort of mentioned it quite well about that injury. But he's going there next year, gets them a head start. You know, we did it with Mark last year. You know, we knew he was coming for the year after. The earlier you can get him in the doors, the better it was for, obviously, Rugby Australia, the better it is for us financially, but then it's also better for the team you're going to get a head start. So I think that's pretty clean in how it worked out.
So from this week, he'll be training with them, won't come back in?
I think so, yeah. I think that's the plan.
Everyone's speculating about freeing up money to bring David to the club. Is he a guy you're interested in bringing?
Yeah, look, I said it maybe 6 weeks ago that we were interested. We haven't had any discussions since then with management. That's still the case, but the freeing up is about building the best squad we can possibly build. That will be about, we're in negotiations with 3 of our guys that are already on contract, some of the younger guys, so we're in negotiations with them as well. So it's always a mix of both. Okay, so we've obviously recruited Reece from outside for next year. There is an interest there, and I think we've been really clear on what we've been trying to do this year. I mean, everyone expected us to make some big moves last year. We've played a lot of these guys. I think we've got sort of 29 or 30 out of our full squad that have come through our system as much as any team in the competition, and that'll continue.
I'm sure you heard Brandon came out and said, yeah, it's signed still and Daly's coming next year. What sort of damage can that do if it's not the case?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's alone in that speculation. You know, I think a lot of people have said that, but yeah, I've said, I think 6 weeks ago, I don't know how long it was, that we're interested. We haven't got to the point where we've sat down and had a conversation with their management that 6 weeks ago, and we'll get to it in due course, whether it can get worked out.
So one thing that the execs will talk about is, you know, and now obviously set up in the club, is that certain guys have a different culture here at the Roosters. Like, as a coach, how do you feel hearing comments like that? And has that been the case with some of the guys? It's not quite gelling?
No, I think we're pretty clear about who we want to be at the Roosters. We're not perfect, and there's lots of different people that have fit into our culture over the course of time that I've been here and well before that. Yeah, there's some people that fit better than others, but we've had a wide array of people over the course of a long period of time. I smile because I start thinking of all the characters that we've had over the course of time that have added really good value, and that'll continue into the future.